Welcome to Perspectives on Prevention. This episode of the podcast series was recorded live at the Prevention and Early Intervention Network Summit 2025. I chat with Dean Hehir, who is from Limerick, and he tells us about some of the difficult experiences and decisions he made, and also some of the really important people and experiences that helped him to change his path. I hope you enjoy listening to Dean.
Welcome back, everyone. It's fantastic to be joining back together for the final session of today, and particularly because it is our podcast is about to happen, Perspectives on Prevention. So I think it is time for me just to introduce the two wonderful people up in front, and most importantly, our podcast guest for today, which is Dean Hehir. Dean is, I've just been learning, is a community companion at Our Lady of Lourdes. And I really love the sound of that as a role, and we had a little bit of a chat to sort of hear more about it, which includes everything from running woodworking groups and lunch clubs, but more importantly, getting community to actually come in and connect and be with others. Thank you so much, Dean Hehir. And as everyone knows, our podcast is hosted by Marian Quinn, and we're not going to, as a sort of esteemed member of the network, the only thing to say really is Marian is really one of the founding members of the network, hosts the podcast, does many things in her long career in this space. And Marian, thank you so much for hosting another podcast here today and everything you do, and handing over to you.
So, welcome to Perspectives on Prevention, the Prevention and Early Intervention Network podcast series. Dean has never spoken in public before. He has brought his fan club down at the back of the room. So can we get a big shout out for Dean and just to say well done, and we're really excited to hear from you. Okay. So the women at the back of the room here, Kate and Yvonne, I know are actually largely responsible for you being sat here, Dean, because a year or so ago they predicted that you'd be doing exactly this, that you'd be sharing your story. So do you want to tell everybody about that story, how that came about?
Yeah, well, we went to one of these speech things at Dolan's, and I went with the girls we work with, and there was a woman talking, and she was just talking about people being in prison, and she was saying she was putting it that people end up in prison because their mothers wouldn't hug them enough and this and that. And now it happened with some people, but it don't happen with all people. Listen, I ended up in prison. My mother loved me, she hugged me enough, So I just came away thinking about that.
And you came away kind of annoyed, I think, that this psychologist was suggesting that you and everybody else that ends up in prison did that because their mothers didn't love them. So you were kind of, Yvonne put it up to you to do something about that?
Yeah, Yvonne said, listen, that'll be you in 5 years and you can tell them. So that was a year and a half ago, because it wasn't 5 years ago.
So it only took you a year, so well done, you're ahead of the curve, yeah. So Dean, let's talk a little bit about your childhood. So I know you were very close to your mum, you spent a lot of time with your mum, so tell everybody about her.
Listen, my mother, she loved working. She was an earner, she'd go out and earn money. She had a van, she used to do market, she used to do boot sales, she used to do fruit and veg, she was doing milk run. She was doing a lot. And I was doing with her stuff. I was kind of the quiet one. I have a twin brother and he was a bit wilder and I was kind of the quiet one. And I used to do them things with her. And I always loved doing them, I'll be honest. Get up at 5:30 in the morning to do the milk run. You get up 5:30 Sunday morning to do the boot sales, you set up the stall for her, and all her sisters would be there. It was great, we loved it, And my brother was the wild one, as I said. I was the quiet one, and I ended up doing one thing then, and that just changed everything.
So tell us about the one thing that kind of put you on a different path then, and that was connected with your twin as well, wasn't it?
Yeah. See, he was meant to do something, and he backed out of it, so I ended up doing it. And I ended up getting locked up then for it, and it was just so easy when I got locked up, and you just keep you don't care then, like when you go in. I went in for the first time, it was just so easy. I had everything. I won't tell you lie, the minute I landed inside, I had friends and people in there, so I was handed what I needed the minute I went in. The jail, I had my phone, I had whatever I needed, I had drugs, I had everything. So I done the sentence and I just got out and I had no problem coming back in. It was so easy because I had everything I needed. You know?
But let's go back a minute to that first thing that you did. So it was a post office.
Yeah.
And your twin backed out and he asked you to do it, and there was a whole big story because there were other people involved in him making a commitment to doing something, isn't that right?
Yeah.
But tell people what you were feeling when you were on your way to go to this post office.
I tell you, I used to go off to my uncle's and he used to keep the horses and we would go over and feed the horses, and he loved the horses, so we loved them as well, and it was something for us to do every day. And his young fella, they were planning to rob the post office, and my twin brother was doing it with him. So he was after pulling out of it, whatever happened. I didn't ask, he just pulled out of it. So he called me and asked me would I go. So I said I would. And no, I was nervous, listen. I got arrested out of the back of the car, I was rattling. I won't tell you like. But we went out to do the post office. We didn't even get in the doors of the post office. So we actually didn't. There was all Limerick cards waiting out there for us, so we got surrounded and yeah, and tore out of the car.
And then you were imprisoned after that, which came as a bit of a shock as well, didn't it?
I was young. I was near enough to 16, so they left me out and they released me without charge. Filed to the DPP, came back within the 6 months and charged me. So they left me out in bail then. So my mother said, "You're going out." My brother was living out the country, so my mother said, "You can go out and stay with him," you know. She thought that I'd keep my head down, really, you know. So the minute I landed out there, the fellas I was going around with dropped me out of the car, dropped me out whatever I needed. And
so that theory of your mum's, sent him out to the country, it'll be nice and quiet, he'll stay out of trouble, keep his head down, that isn't really how that all worked out, was it?
No.
So you had a car.
I got worse.
Yeah, go on. So what else did you do?
Listen, I was after getting out, and I was after getting out of the barracks I was 2 days in the barracks. I never smoked in front of my mother or father. I think so. The minute I got out, my father made me roll up. Here, he said, I was gasping for one. And so when I got out then, I went up and they were all, you know, they were just the lads and, you were in the barracks, well done, and you know, fair play to you, and you said nothing and this and that, and you know.
And maybe, Dean, not everybody knows Limerick, and particularly, you know, what would this be, nearly 20 years ago, a bit less. And at the time, there was a lot of drug-related gang feuding going on, and some of that was based around where you lived. So maybe say a little bit about the kinds of things that you grew up hearing about and that were going on with families that you lived beside.
So you had the big feud at the time. You had this side of the town and you were up that side of the town, and it was split, like. So if we were coming into town, we'd need 20 of us to come into town. 15, 20 of us would come in groups, and that's just the way it was. But when I got out of the barracks, it was all these lads that was involved in the gangs, and sure, they were just, you know, fair play to them. Listen, it made me feel good. I thought I felt good about it, and you said nothing, and you know, do you want this now or do you want that, and you can do this and do that kind of thing.
And that affirmation that you got, that kind of pat on the back, the guy saying, that's great, you kept your mouth shut when you were in the barracks and all of that, you later came to understand why that was so important to you. So tell us a bit about that.
I wanted to fit in with them all. I was actually trying to hide who I really was. So I was actually, I got into that car, I was nervous. And the guards around us in that car, I was nervous, you know, I was rattling. And listen, I went to the barracks, I got out of the barracks, and it was kind of the lads were this and that. And so you were after going through it all, so there was no more nerves then, so I wasn't afraid of the guards no more, or anything like that. So, and then you just carry on doing what you're doing. And I knew why I was doing it back then. I knew who I was, but I just didn't want anyone else to know. And I was embarrassed about it. I hated who I was, I'll be honest. So.
Can you tell people what it was about yourself that you hated, Dean?
Yeah, I was gay. So.
Yeah. And that was a really hard thing to accept.
Yeah. Well, listen, in the Middle West and back then, and you had these were dangerous people, like, and there was a big feud going on, and
Yeah.
listen.
You wouldn't have felt safe coming out?
Listen, if I came out, you were walking around, you were getting flagged, or listen, you wouldn't have been one of the lads, or they would have flagged you, and, you know, it would have been just different. And
Can you say a little bit about the coming out? Because that was a back and forth journey a bit, wasn't it? Can you say a little bit about that?
I came out when I was 26. I went out to the pub, and I met a fella, and I came out for a week, and I went back in, I met a girl. Had a baby. So, yeah. And it took me about 4 years after that to come back out again.
But actually, the baby is Maggie May is a really important part of your story, isn't she? So we'll come back to Maggie in a minute. But you were in and out of prison quite a bit, and actually you got quite comfortable there, didn't you?
Yeah. I think within about 13, 14 years, I think I was out for about 2 Christmases. And anytime I get out, I'd be out for about between 8 months to 18 months, that a bit. I wouldn't last any longer than 18 months. And that was going on for years. Like, I'm actually out now about, I think this is my 4th Christmas. And like as I said, I was in out for 2 Christmases during all the meal. This is my 4th Christmas in a row, do you know?
Good, well done, yeah. And actually you were so comfortable in the prison that you've kind of got a fairly unique record, haven't you, for breaking into the prison?
I loved it. I did. I was actually passing the prison one night. I was after taking tablets. I was fond of tablets. And I was after taking a few tablets, and I was thinking, when I was in there, we would get parcels thrown over that wall so we could get them, and says, I'll go over and see if there might be a parcel there. But I got over that wall, it was the car park, and I just looked and I see the rest of the prison, so I chanced it. Yeah, I was out of my head. And I chanced it.
Yeah.
I got 6 months for it. I mean, so, yeah.
Okay, so I think you are the only person to have been done for breaking into prison.
Yeah.
Dean, just say a little bit about drugs, addiction. Did that play much of a part in your journey?
I took my first line of coke when I was 15, and it was lovely. So now I wouldn't smoke a joint at that age. I don't know why, and I ended up taking a line of coke. But I got fond of tablets, and the tablets were great because you take a tablet and you don't care who you are or who people think you are, and you don't care. You actually don't care. So every morning you're waking up and I'll take 2 or 3 of them. I don't care what people think of me or who I am or what I am. They just take you away from everything, and you get some charge sheets out of them. Because I often walk up in the barracks, a few times now I walk up in the barracks and I think, what am I here for? And you don't remember, so you're blank. You're blank after taking them, and I was taking them for a good couple of years.
So what happened that helped you to understand that a lot of this behaviour was because you hated yourself, because you didn't want to be gay? When did you come to realise that?
My problem was, I cared what people thought of me, or if they knew who I was, what would they be saying, or, you know. That was the problem. I was worried what people would say or what people thought of me. I don't care what people say or would think of me now, you know. I actually have a partner and I'd walk around Weston with him now, whereas before I wouldn't, you know. And I walk everywhere with him now, so.
Yeah, great. So let's talk about Maggie, because she's been really important in your story as well. So how did she kind of shape what you did in and out of prison? So that you had some engagement with a social worker about Maggie, and that kind of made a big impact on you. So tell us about that.
I was in on my last sentence. I was doing 5.5 years, and everyone was just coming. People were coming in from after roads that I knew, and I'd be ringing my sister, and they'd be telling me, like, this is going on and that's going on at home, and, you know, Maggie was found on the roads at 10:30 at night, and the guard bring Maggie home here, and there was a house party in the house, and you know. So I wrote to the social workers. I was only about a year and a half in, so there was actually nothing I could do really when you write to the social workers, you know. So I wrote to the social workers, and within 6 or 7 weeks they wrote back to me and told me that they checked out, they had a look and they're closing the case and everything was grand. So I was actually after going to see a drugs counsellor. I went in on that sentence and I went over to see a drugs counsellor. The officer in the laundry, he was saying it about the drugs counsellor, try it. So I went over and tried it. So she wrote a letter with me, and so they closed that, and about a year down the line again, I was hearing more things. I wrote them again and to send back, look, we checked it out and we're closing the case and everything. And the same thing, so I had about 3 weeks left out of my sentence, and so I was at work, I was working in the laundry, and the officer came down and said, there's a visit outside for you. So I said, see who it is, you know, before I go out. So he came in, he said it was a social worker, so I said, I'll go and see what it's about and all, you know. So it was a social worker, she was lovely, she was very nice. So she came up and she was telling me that there was complaints, and we've 17 complaints or something from the school and from guard and the centre, and you know. So she went through all them with me and everything. So I said it to her, I said, listen, I wrote you, I said twice about this, and you know. So I thought, I won't tell her, I never thought she was going up to tell me that she's been taken, and then so I said to her, listen, have I, you know, can I get her, what can I do? I didn't think I'd get her over my records, I said I won't, you know. So she said to me then, listen, you have to get a chance, she's your daughter, she said, it's up to you, you know. So I got out and I worked away with her then, and now I have Maggie. So, yeah.
I mean, how big a deal was that for you, Dean, when you were told that she was going to come and live with you full time? What was that like?
That was good, yeah, I was delighted. It kind of just, so I was after getting out, and so I used to go down and collect her every night. So I'd go down and collect her every morning and drop her down at night. My sister would drop me down and collect her. So, and the truth now, every night I dropped her down. She was in the hotel with her mother, and she was there about a year, or 8 months to a year before I got out. She was in there, I think. And every night I dropped her off, she just keep looking back at me. You know, she didn't want to be in there, she hated it. So I asked her mother one night, could she stay above? So I was staying with my sisters on a couch. And so my brother then said he had a bedroom above, so he cleared it out and there was a big bed. So come up there, and so it was only meant to be a night, you know, stay the night with her, and she'll enjoy it and it'll be nice, we'll have a laugh and things, you know. She came up that night with me and stayed the next night after me, and she just stayed in from then. She never actually went back down to her mother, and her mother got thrown out of the hotel a couple of weeks after that. Okay. So.
And you and Maggie were living in a hotel for a period as well, weren't you? So can you tell us a bit about what that was like?
I was 3 years in the hotel with her. Listen, the hotels are horrible. I was glad I had a roof over my head and things, but they're horrible. They're not nice. I was in there for 3 years, and you just come to the stage where you're just killing each other in the rooms, and it wasn't fair on her. See, you'd leave the door open, they're allowed to sit at the corridor outside your door and things 1 week, then the next week the manager stopped that if anything happened, so then they're stuck in the room for a week or two again. And you know, now I had family, I had my sisters, and I had my partner's mothers, we could go up there, I had work and things like that. But there's actually people in them hotels, and I see kids on them corridors, and they have nowhere all week. Every day they're just on them corridors, they have nothing else, so, and it's horrible.
I know, Dean, that you were here this morning listening to Benjamin Perks, and there were a few things that he talked about that we've talked about. So one of them is about that every child needs champion, or every person needs someone on their side. You've had quite a few of those in your life. So you mentioned the laundry guy in the prison, and the social worker, obviously, Kate and Yvonne. So tell us a bit about the people that have appeared in your life that have been really significant.
I was going in and out for years, and with an officer in the laundry, and he was an ACO, he was over the whole laundry and things, and he was actually very nice. I knew him from years from going in and out anyway, and he'd always say, listen, Every time I go over, keep her head down a couple of weeks now, and I'll take you off to the laundry, and you know. And he was nice, and so I came in that sentence, and it was him. He said it to me about the drugs counsellor, and he said, "There's a drugs." So now I won't tell a lie. The attitude. Look, he just said it, so just because he said to me, I just say I done it, you know, kind of thing. Yeah, I stayed with her for the full 5.5 years. I was up there, you know. She was very good. She was brilliant, and yeah. I worked a good bit myself for her, but it was him. He got me over to her, and he actually tried everything to get me out early, and he couldn't. He apologised for that. He tried everything, but he was actually very nice. Yeah.
Dean, everybody here is really interested in prevention and also, you know, sort of stopping problems from happening, and also thinking about how we can support families really early before things get difficult. So if you think back to the 15-year-old you, before you did the post office job, when you were still working hard on the, you know, the car boot sales and whatever, what might have made a difference for you, do you think?
Listen, what was needed back then is what's there now. And what they need now is just more funding for the people they have, for the people like Kate, Yvonne, Bernie, you know, that's dedicated to helping communities and is passionate about what they do and like what they do. That's what's needed really, like more people like them in the communities.
I suppose a theme today has been about the importance of relationships, that, you know, you can offer programs and they're great and they're really important, but actually they're kind of nearly like a vehicle for the relationship. So the people you've described are people that cared about you and sort of had your back. Is that how important has that been for you?
Yeah, listen, they took over the centre, the girls above, and they came out around, we went out around walking in the area, talking to the people, meeting the people. Me and Paul used to pass the centre, and every time we passed, the girls would be outside and, oh yeah, we'll come over, sit down and chat, you know. Okay. And they were just very good like that. And it's just they came out around to the people. So the people started coming up to them. It's what we used to call
outreach work, but people don't do it anymore. Yeah, okay. Yeah, so kind of somebody reaching out to you.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, interesting. Thanks, Dean. Is there anything else about your story that you want to share? Because then we're going to move to the audience to see if anybody has some questions for you. But is there anything else you want to tell people about?
Listen, just if you see anyone like, you know, young people and they're, just try help them, try call them, you know. You can call one person, listen, not everyone you can help, but if you call 10 people, you might help one, you know.
Yeah. I know you said to me last night that once you started getting into trouble, that nobody, apart from your mum, nobody ever said to you, Dean, maybe we should have a chat and see if there's a different way for you to go.
No. See, we had the centre above, but back then it was just the clubs were on. If you wanted to go, you just go up there, that was it. There was no one to come out and tell you, oh, don't do this, or come up here. You just go up to everyone, you don't, that was it.
So let's hope things are turning to be a bit different now for people in the community, that we're recognising the importance of doing that connecting. Yeah.
It's happening, it is. It's happening in our community, it's happening in most communities around now. It just needs to happen more. They need to get more funding and to get more people in to help.
Okay. Dean, I'm going to move to the audience. So I think for now, let's just get a round of applause for Dean's story.
Very good.
Well done. Does anybody have a question or a comment or just anything to say in response to anything you've heard from Dean?
I kind of have two questions. One is a practical one. You were introduced as a community companion, or did I mishear? And can you tell us what that is? And the other thing is, I know that, it sounds like your daughter had a very tough few years before you got out of prison. And then, I'm sure it wasn't easy living with her and parenting her after that, because she found her secure place. She was going to push back. So what's that been like? And can you give us any tips, us parents?
Well, the community companion is, so I used to come up to the centre and we said Gare all the time, can I help, can I volunteer, can I do this, can I do that? And Gare would always say, there are no volunteers, paid jobs. But she'd let us help on her and things as well. So it's community companion is we help with the older people in the community. So the Meals on Wheels, they get a dinner dropped to them every day. So every Wednesday we go out in the bus and collect whoever wants to come in. We ask them if they want to come in, and we bring them in and we serve them up their dinner. We give them a cup of tea and a dessert and a chat. We sit at the table and chat with them, and they all get to chat with each other. It's just getting them out of the house and they're meeting each other and they're chatting. And we arrange clubs, and we have a Monday night group. It's open to any ages. They can just come in. We make ham and cheese toasties. We done wraps 2 weeks ago up there. Yeah, Kate says back for the potato sandwiches. And we have a woodwork shop. So, and that's for older men and younger men. It's just to get them out of the house, and so that's the community companion, is helping out in the area. It's a good job. And with Margaret, oh God. Yeah, listen, I won't say she was hard work, she actually wasn't. She actually helped me a lot as well. So when I got out, I was just settling back in and adjusting, and she helped me with that and things, you know. So she kept me busy when I got out, so I couldn't get into mischief either because I had her, and she was keeping me busy, and you know. And yeah, she had a tough gal, but you know, but she's actually a very good child. She's a great old heart. She try to help anyone and things like that. She's very good like that now, and she's not very cheeky, and she gets to know herself sometimes, but she's not a cheeky child. She don't ask for much. She's actually very good, and my partner's great with her, and he dresses her and everything. I just fire a tracksuit on her, I wouldn't send her out. I have no style like that, I like to.
And I think you'll have seen in the programme a photo of yourself, Paul and Maggie on her communion day.
All him.
Yeah, all him. Yeah, okay, great. Okay, thank you. Any other questions? There's one at the back, and Caroline there as well. So, yep.
Dean, how are you doing? Thomas Matthews here with Child and Family Service from Dublin. Again, 2 questions. First of all, I suppose we hear a lot this word knocking around today called hope. Right, so I'm just wondering what your hope is now for your future and your daughter's future. And the second question is, how long did it take you to break into prison?
About an hour. And it took me 6 months to get out. Hope, that word, yeah. I'm have to come back to college. I'm doing the Seawell course. So I was on campus 2 weeks ago, and it was my first time on campus. And it was just beautiful out there, and it was just so busy, and there was thousands out there. It was packed. The first time I see it like that, and you know, it was beautiful out there. So I just thought straight away, this is what I want for Maggie. You know, this is what I want for her. I'd love this for her. But I think every child should have that opportunity, not just Maggie. You know, yeah, I just hope people listen out of these things, and just people listen, the right people listen, so they can do the right things.
Great. Thanks, Dean. Thanks for the question. Caroline?
Thanks, Dean, for sharing your story today. It's been really inspirational and a great way to end the day. My name is Caroline, and I lead out on home visiting in Tusla. And I'm really struck by your voice and your voice as a dad, caring for your daughter. Last week we had a National Day of Celebration for Home Visiting, and we also heard from a dad who spoke about how he didn't see himself in the material of a programme. It was all kind of geared towards a mum, and he didn't see himself. And I'm just wondering, from your perspective as a dad, in the different contacts you've had with supports, what ways did you feel championed as a dad in your role parenting?
No, let anything I go for now with Maggie, or like I was called into school last week for something, I need mum's permission for everything. Yeah. So I done a guardianship when I first got her through a solicitor, but he never sent it through the court. In the meetings with Tusla, before I got her, we used to do meetings with her mother, and my family used to go with me. And there was loads around the table in the Tusla buildings and all. And so the last meeting, one of the workers, social workers, I think she was high up in there, and she said, your next step now is full custody. So that was my plan. But then I came out and I said, I won't, you know. That's her mother. Listen, she might sort herself out after a while, and we could share her, and you know, because every child needs their mother, you know. But she never did, and I never went and got the guardianship. So now, all I'm ever hit with is, I need mum's permission, I need mum's permission.
And were you offered any kind of parenting supports when Maggie came to you?
No. So they were saying they wanted to do art therapy with her, was it? Art therapy first, they were saying. So over what she went through, and they said, we think it'll be good. So the social worker was saying this to me, and so we'll get on to it. And so they actually never came back about it, and they never done it.
Okay.
So we actually done it ourselves. A girl works in the school. She actually went there and got me an appointment with Blue Box, was it, and we bring her up there, and she done her sessions up there. But I worked with Sinead first, the social worker. She was lovely. She was very nice, very good. And I actually asked Tusla, I was asking them to help me with getting housing, and they gave me a letter to get housing, and I was asking them to help me with the hotel. I asked them for help me with this and that. And to be quite honest, I was just left on my own.
Okay. And I don't know if you heard there were quite a few people sighing there. I think there's a sense of frustration that you weren't offered more support, you and Maggie given some support, there should have been more available to help you through what was probably a difficult time, Dean.
I tried to get her passport, I couldn't, and I couldn't get help doing that either. And I was 2 years trying to get her passport, her mother wouldn't sign the thing for me. So I ended up getting it, but through getting her mother to sign it, I couldn't get any help from anywhere. I asked social worker, I asked everyone for help, I couldn't get any help. So.
Okay, still more work to be done. We've maybe time for one more, have we, Ali?
Yeah, we're 5 minutes to go.
Okay, so over here.
Hello. Hiya. My name's Carla, and I work in Focus Ireland. I work with young people, and they've grown up in care, and just at the moment there's a few in my mind that are struggling with using drugs, and just listening to you today, really all I want to say to you is gives me a lot of hope. That at certain points in their life they're going to make the decision to change, and we just don't know when that's going to happen. And it might not be because of all the interventions that we offer, but something in them, it sounds like something in you decided, I want something different for myself. So yeah, thank you so much.
Good. I suppose when I met Dean last night, we met online and then we met last night, and hearing about the different people who have been important in your journey and in helping you to kind of make different decisions, I was thinking about Katrina O'Sullivan's book and how anybody who's heard her speaking, she talks so passionately about people who step into our lives as vulnerable children and young people, and we don't know, we the professionals, we don't know what we've left behind. We don't know that we've lit something, and we don't know when that spark will become something bigger. And I kind of got that sense from you that there were lots of people who left little sparks, and it took an accumulation, and maybe it took Maggie coming into your life, and maybe it was the laundry guy, or whatever, but it took a few things to become something more than a spark. So I think it's really important for us all to remember, we're all doing really hard work and working with vulnerable families, and it can feel like we're not making a lot of difference, but actually we're all leaving a spark in every one of those engagements. So I think that's a really nice thing to take away.
Listen, I've great family support anyway. If you never get any help from anyone, you'll always have your family and things. And I have a great family, I genuinely do. But in our community now, the help everyone has in the community, So, anyone that's having a problem, they can come up and sit down in the centre for a cup of tea with us. They can ask for any of us or the girls. And, it's just having people there to help people, and it goes a long way,
Yeah.
Listen, no one called me when I was young and, stop this or stop that. The only one that's done it was my family. Why are you doing this for? And, So, listen, there needs to be people there to just listen. You can tell some people stop, they don't listen. But some people do listen, And the people that don't, you can keep telling them stop, and they listen eventually. And you have to want to stop getting stoned yourself, Listen, I have a brother, and I'd be looking at him, and I'd be giving out, and I'd be mounting, and because he's still at the same carry on, he don't stop, And I failed to realise myself, he has to want it, he don't want it yet. I wanted to stop, I wanted it, And I wanted it for Maggie and for myself, you know. So, and in reality TV I was watching inside in prison, and I was living this normal life. I was thinking, this isn't, you know, this is not normal. So you have to want it yourself.
And I think the other message in that, Dean, is for us who work in this kind of area is not to give up, you know, to be consistent, to keep turning up, to keep the door open. So I think that's a really great message to leave us with. So I think, you know, what an amazing way to end the day, Dean. What a great story for us all to hear. And thank you so much for your openness and your courage in coming here and sharing it with us today. So thanks to Dean from everybody.
Oh, sorry. Marian, thanks very much.
It was
Grand.
Yes,
really good.
thank you,
Well
Dean.
done.
Thank you, Marian. That concludes the podcast.
Thank you for listening to Perspectives on Prevention. I hope you enjoyed listening to my chat with Dean as much as I enjoyed meeting him. And I've no doubt that you were as inspired by his story as I was, and indeed all of the participants at the Network Summit. You can listen to all of the Prevention and Early Intervention Network podcasts on Near FM or Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts.